I'm going to make you feel a bit old this morning because it was 20 years ago this month that Britpop was born, and it was bands like Oasis, Pulp and of course Blur creating that music that, well, it did define a generation, cliched as that does sound. And of course behind a lot of that, Alex James from Blur, bassist. I mean, it's funny how it's all, 20 years ago has gone like that, hasn't it?
I really thought it was 10. Somebody said, "What are you doing?" I said, "It's 10 years since Britpop." It's 20. My, that went quick. But you know what? Blur got back together to do a bunch of shows around the world last year, and like everywhere from Montevideo in Uruguay to Jakarta in Indonesia. Huge crowds of people came along, and when we played Country House, they sang it at the tops of their voices and cried their eyes out. And it's amazing that those songs have sort of endured. And
but when you're doing it as a young man, do you realise that you are creating a generational sound, which that was?
No, just making a really loud noise, I think.
You must have been aware at the time that you were part of something big, because it was such an iconic time in music, British music, wasn't it? With the rivalry with Oasis and the Gallaghers and Damon Albarn all getting up on each other's faces.
Yeah, I mean, I guess celebrity's more the focus of everything now, but sort of, 20 years it is actually a long time ago. And music was really absolutely the focus of everything then. That was and it really, that sort of Blur and Oasis thing really did seem to capture people's imaginations.
Everyone likes a bit of rivalry, don't they?
We're all friends now.
Are you?
I think
really?
So, more or less.
Mind you, the irony of it all is that you went and got yourself a very big house in the country.
I do. Well, that's the sort of the happily ever after for rock gentlemen is going to live on a farm.
But there does seem to be this move at the moment, doesn't there? And I can certainly appreciate it, coming from the lakes and living in London for a while and now moving back out again. There is a desire to actually get out of that sort of urban environment, which does seem at times very oppressive.
Well, that's why I'm here. Yesterday to celebrate the launch of Farm Hero Saga on mobile, game creator King built a pop-up farm right in the middle of Canary Wharf. So you had these suited, booted city gents pouring out of the escalators at Canary Wharf to be greeted by snuffling pigs and chirping chickens, and it's actually really quite arresting. And research that King have done shows that 90% of people think that there should be more green areas in cities. City life is very stressful, and growing stuff is actually very relaxing. That's why I've bought you a desktop allotment. There's some strawberries. Planted these yesterday. I mean, they're giving away thousands of seeds. You can get them on the website. They'll be ready for Wimbledon.
Will they really?
Yeah, they will. Just keep them watered.
How many will you get out of that pint glass, though?
Enough to see you through a nail-biting Murray semi-final. It depends on how much sunshine there is.
Fantastic. I've got a garden now and love getting out and doing stuff in the garden. I've never grown strawberries. Strawberries
are quite easy, but they're giving away carrots and lettuces as well. I mean, seeds is slightly. If you get, when garden centre's still got loads of these, you can just pop them in a bit of compost. You make your own compost, but then you need worms as well. It's a bit more complicated.
Well, how do you find life there? Because we know that a lot of these city people want to get a bit more open space, they want a bit more greenery, they want to see more real life. How do you find it from 20 years ago being that sort of hectic youngster, that hectic lifestyle that you had to live as a pop star, to being much more of a country gent and taking things, I guess, with a bit more pace?
Yeah, well, a lot of musicians do end up living on farms. I don't know if it's all those years living out of a suitcase and just tearing around all over the place. Like farms is somewhere I felt I can really put my roots down there. And I think the more that you put into a garden, the more you get out of it. But having done it for 10 years, there's loads coming out now, and so I have to come to it's loads of stuff to deal with. Like, I've got 20,000 people coming for the weekend at the end of the summer. We do a food and music festival on the farm. Yeah. Jamie Oliver and I do it together. Yeah, you should come. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's actually like going on tour. Was relaxing compared to gearing up for that. It's brilliant fun.
You're a family man now, of course.
I've got 5 kids. Yeah, they're all on holiday.
See, it's not that quiet out in the farm, is it? It's mental. It's substituted the band.
Coming to London is actually I find very relaxing.
But is it good? I mean, as a family man, is it good to think you're raising your kids in that sort of environment?
Yeah, I think, yeah, the kids love elemental stuff like big open spaces and hills and water and fire.
Snails.
But I reckon I've got another snails, they do like snails, poking snails. But I reckon I've got another 2 years before I just become a full-time taxi driver.
Yeah, well, it is part of the job, Dad's taxis. Look, you know, we're out of time, but you know, as the cheese man, you make a lot of cheese. What is your best cheese at the moment?
My best cheese, Blue Monday. You want a bit of honey on it? I'll send you some, darling.
Right, there you go. Sorted. That's all I wanted to know.